The world values service a whole lot. People are willing to pay good money provided they are given a full complement of services everywhere they go. We just love to be pampered by service, even if deep inside we know we are really paying dearly for it. Being served somehow makes us feel good about ourselves and gives a boost to our self-image. It is no wonder that two of Jesus' followers, James and John, who probably felt important enough to ask a big, if pretentious, favor from the Lord, "Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you." Mark's recounting of the story seems significant. James and John asked the Lord to do for them whatever they asked of him. It was service they wanted. They wanted the Lord to do for them something they must have very much desired. I see two aspects to the self-centered request of the two brothers: service from their Lord and Master when the time comes. Certain crazy ideas do come into the head of people who think they have done something great, something worth being thankful for or thanked for, something worth being rewarded. Warped beliefs about deserving to be rewarded handsomely and treated justly do come into the minds of people who have in the first place come to be served and not to serve. People whose focus are on themselves begin counting whatever good they have done, whatever contribution they have made. As a priest, pastor, preacher, and teacher over more than 3 decades, and as one who was in various forms of authority and leadership for almost as long, I have personally experienced what I'm talking about. I've also felt sidelined. I have felt unappreciated and unrewarded. I have also seen people walk out of groups and associations for the same reason. I have seen individuals refuse to cooperate at some point when they feel they have not been justly and fairly treated. We have to admit that we all, at some point or other, secretly nurture that oftentimes unacknowledged desire to sit at the right and left hand of whoever can make our personal stature even grander and greater. I believe that it is no empty coincidence that the Holy Father chose more or less this time 15 years ago to raise Mother Teresa of Calcutta to the glories of the altar and declare her blessed and worthy of being honored in the Church. There is no denying that all her life, all her energies, talents, and personal riches were all dedicated to serving others, especially the least, the last, the lowest, and the lost. The life and holy death of Saint Teresa of Calcutta, therefore, is a modern icon of what Christian service is all about, a lesson far too powerful to be ignored and glossed over, the very same lesson that was impressed upon James and John. You know that those who are recognized as rulers over the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones make their authority over them felt. But it shall not be among you. Rather, whoever wishes to be first among you will be the slave of all. For the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. James and John, however, still had an edge over most of us. After making that self-centered request, the Lord asked them, "Can you drink the cup or be baptized with the baptism with which I am baptized?" They said to him, "We can." At the very least, I would like to think that indeed James and John meant what they said. History tells us that they both did, thus becoming towering figures in the history of the early church. The question for us is twofold. Firstly, in a world that is averse to any form of discomfort and pain, in a culture that despises any form of suffering and tries to cover it up by a never-ending search for more ease, comfort, and convenience, James and John, for their initial selfishness, really had the essentials necessary for service, the capacity and readiness to suffer, to follow the footsteps of their Master to Calvary. In a moment of weakness, which we all really have, the Spirit simply caved in to a thirst for power and honor. The second question for us is the more difficult one, precisely because it was in exactly the same area that James and John faltered. The question for us is how ready we are to give without counting the cost, to serve without expecting rewards. The question for us in terms of our contemporary times is whether we can do a Mother Teresa in the ordinary situation of our lives wherever we are. People mistakenly think that greatness has to do with doing complicated stuff. I have it on the authority of a woman writer that nothing is further from the truth. I have it on the example of Blessed Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta that greatness does not lie so much on heroics as on fidelity, constancy, and utter simplicity. Indeed, nothing is more simple than greatness. To be simple is to be great. It simply means doing things fully and not getting by with half measures. Full service for the Lord, not a self-serving search for one's own puny greatness. This is what we are asked to give today, all days, and for always. And this, my dear friends, is your kalakbay at katoto in this week's episode of Puso sa Puso saying, thank you and God bless you.